Hello there, and I hope you had a Merry Christmas. Now, the guys at Kunos really want us to have a Merry Christmas as well because they had a really sneaky preview of what's going to happen on their early access. But first of all, a big thank you to all subscribers and members and also Twitch subscribers for helping the channel out this year. If you want to do the same, become a member, press subscribe, and also press like. So we're going to have a look at the video, at the trailer. Let's look at the trailer and, pick up on a few things that they say, and we're going to try to infer from it. And there's a few nuggets here and there that I think are quite interesting. Even at the start, at the beginning, there's a little of a nugget, beautiful car, beautiful alpha.
Welcome
but
to the Assetto
over
Corsa
there,
Evo.
if you
Thank
look
you so much for all
at the screen, there's a Honda NSX. And over here, they also have their own NSX over there. It seems to be track built pretty nice with the facelift. I believe these are the facelift headlights. Pretty cool.
Assetto Corsa Evo is the third chapter of the franchise and will be available on Steam in early access from January 16, 2025.
So this is first the most important point as of this moment is that they're still going for the January 16th release for the early access. This is really important. They're trying to maintain to a timeline and adhere to it. And the timeline, if it's anything like any other Assetto Corsa that has been released, and I've been through the early access of the original Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione, there's going to be a release 1, 2, 3, 4, and there so forth. And every single release will have some sort of new content, new features, stuff to try out, stuff to give feedback, and all of that.
The Early Access program invites you to join our growing community of dedicated...
Okay, I haven't seen this car before. This is the Alfa Romeo Junior, a new one that released a couple of years ago or last year. Essentially is I believe it's a Corsa or a Mokka or something like that with Alfa garb. It's a crossover, so I don't understand crossovers in a racing game. There probably a reason. I probably have missed this from the pictures. I haven't seen this picture before. I haven't seen this car before in the release.
Special prize that reflects its ongoing development. Your feedback during this phase will help us in fine-tuning gameplay.
So, new track, Laguna Seca, and we have a Chevy ZL1 over here. I'm not a big guy in American muscle cars, so if you are, this is the version or whatever. Okay, fair enough. I just don't know these cars.
Optimizing performance and giving the game its overall polish. The first build available from January.
Okay, nothing related to the game. Look at this. This is a really built NSX. There's this gap for aero and also cooling. There's this side view mirror that's definitely not stock carbon fiber. This seems like to be either a fiber or carbon fiber hood, custom made, all of that. It's pretty good. They have a tracked out NSX. I like that.
From January the 16th, will include the 20 cars from several car brands, performance and car classes.
Okay, 20 cars at the start. Likely 1 or 2 racing cars, and if it comes to racing car, it will be probably the Porsche Cup we have seen before. There are a few brands that we haven't seen, and I don't think they are here. One of them is Cadillac. We have, the Chevrolet, which we already seen. We have Audi. We have the Ford, and we have Honda with the Honda NSX. The Lancia we have seen, and I think we're going to see as well in here. We have seen in the open world video, they show an Integral HF. So we also have Mercedes and Toyota and Volkswagen. Volkswagen we've already seen with the Golfs.
And the 5 circuits.
Oh, something that I've missed. Credits. Dude has 49 million of them. Probably has been, cheating a bit using the codes. Probably not. Who knows? That's a lot of credits. So we have more or less something that is close to Gran Turismo, and we're going to see a little more of that.
And 5 circuits across 4 continents. Laguna Seca, America, Brands Hatch and Imola, Europe, Mount Panorama, Australia, and Suzuka from Japan.
So all of the tracks we have already seen in Assetto Corsa Competizione, Bathurst, and Imola, and I believe Brands Hatch were in the preview that we had in Sim Racing Expo. They drive nice. They seem to be crossovers from Assetto Corsa Competizione, but updated with with one area or two areas that are probably new, or different roadside objects, different type of sponsors and liveries and all of that going around. So essentially the same type of track, but they change where it's needed, because in reality, in most cases, the tracks don't really change that much in most cases. So we see that we have high quality choices. They're a bit varied. They're still mostly GP circuits or, Grand Tour circuits that we have seen, or Super V8 circuits. So nothing really like point-to-point or rally or something like that.
Physically simulated track conditions,
GT63,
such as rubber built-up
AMG.
and wet surfaces, react dynamically in real time, adding authenticity to every lap. Environments are further enhanced by animated crowds, marshals, and race elements,
just like Gran Turismo,
into a detailed racing world. Evo continues the tradition of Assetto Corsa of being a genuine, 100% realistic racing simulation. And in the last 4 years, we worked so hard to improve even more the feeling.
That's the open world we've seen before.
Evo performs an improved
HF,
suspension damping and bump stop simulation.
And we have the Ford Escort RS
Cosworth absorb bumps and shocks. We fine-tuned this.
So for BMW, we'll have a race car as well. We have already seen this before. The M2 CS, it's a really nice car to go around. Hopefully we get the MX-5 Cup. Besides, the regular MX-5 we normally have. MX-5 Cups in Assetto Corsa are fantastic. In this car, in Assetto Corsa Competizione, is also pretty dope. Small, honest race cars that don't need to be flat out GTs or Formulas or something like that.
Tire model to better match real-world data and feedback on driving.
The jumps, the dampers, and the spring rates seem to be correct. I'm not sure about tire flex. A lot of people saying, "Oh, we haven't seen tire flex from the videos." It's very difficult to infer from that that the tires aren't working as they are supposed to, or if the tires don't have the representation, but it's transferred to the shocks or something like that. But over here, it kind of felt like they're doing the jumps okay.
This means our simulations now more accurately reflect how tires behave on the track.
Now, this also feels like correctly done if you are on attack with this car. The car does move like this. The car is actually quite light for a sedan of this type.
Like torsion beams and swing arms. This allows us to analyze how each type affects our car handling and ride quality. We have improved the accuracy of our multi-body dynamic.
Now, just a side note, we're not likely going to have GT3 cars at launch. I don't think we are, but they are, using, I think this is either a GT3 or a Super Trofeo of sorts with some sort of weird livery. But that means they are trying also to do that. Even though we're not having at launch, it doesn't mean we're not going to have it through the early access stages, or in the future, maybe in a finished version, they were going to have like 2 or 3 cars like we had before in Assetto Corsa, and then maybe later on with the DLC with more cars even. But it's good that they're, not doing just the road cars, but also the racing cars.
Dynamic Solver, which is a tool that models how different parts of a car interact. This leads to more realistic simulations of vehicle behavior. In addition, thanks to the dynamic track simulation...
So, essentially, they're trying to do every single part of the chassis, roll bars, suspension, and all of that. Pretty good.
Created a simulation of racetracks that takes into account charges such as a rubber buildup by tires and rain.
Okay, rubber buildup with tires and rain, it's something that iRacing does it better than nobody else. I think the release they've done this year, it was fantastic. It's awesome to drive on no matter what car it is. They've done it incredibly well. If Assetto Corsa is able to tap in just a little bit of that, much more, Assetto Corsa Evo, much better than they did in Assetto Corsa Competizione, which was essentially baked in racing lines with no really crossover. That will be fantastic. Automobilista 2 also has a very good generation of that, but iRacing, in my opinion, is the king in this.
You will enjoy the first part of the single-player mode, featuring practice sessions, quick races, and the Driving Academy, which is a new entry in the Assetto Corsa world. The Driving Academy will allow you to learn step-by-step section of each track for the first race,
RS3,
driving a wide range of different cars in iconic challenges.
I much prefer the sedan.
With a new A to B time attack game mode. Alongside the first release of the game economy features, this will allow you to obtain the driving license you need for your dream car.
Okay, few things here. So, they're talking about the driving academy and licenses. That's Gran Turismo. That's essentially Gran Turismo. Add the credits, Gran Turismo. Add the missions that we've seen in the presentation of the open world. That's really Gran Turismo. One thing that I've never really understood in sim racing, bar a few games, very few of them, one of them, Richard Burns Rally, is that there wasn't any driver academy ever. It's basically throw yourself in, do a lap. If you want to do hot laps, we don't care. So there's no mechanism for any person coming into sim racing, let's say they want to come into sim racing directly, to learn about it. Sim racing expects of you that you already know. And oftentimes that is impossible because not a lot of people have time for that, but they still want to get immersed on it. And the selection for this generally is either Forza or Gran Turismo. In Gran Turismo 7, I think they do it better than anything else. They have a really interesting way to learn every single track. You do it on segment, against a clock, which is quite interesting. So you try until you get better and you get the gold. So that's a really nice way to learn. It's a very good way to learn new tracks. And if Assetto Corsa Evo is doing exactly that, they're going the right direction. It doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be a sim racing title as well. It just says, look, we're opening the doors for everybody else as well, because after all, Gran Turismo is not on the PC. Might as well just be Gran Turismo on the PC and be Italian instead of Japanese.
Evo is powered by a new DirectX 12 graphics engine that has been developed by Kunos and specifically designed for racing applications.
Okay, I have thoughts about this. From the images that we have already seen, is that there's always a lot of fog. I'm not sure if they're trying to mask some imperfections, looking at the distance, or if they are trying to show what their engine can do. But also the colors seem to be a little bit off. I can't really put it where it is. It feels like it has an incorrect tint or a wrong color space, which I hope can be corrected, because in Assetto Corsa Competizione, for example, you can change the color space from Aces into the standard one. Aces made it, too poppy, and I still prefer the other one and or a little bit of saturation. Or in Assetto Corsa, even without the new linear color space, you can change the post-processing filter that would change the colors and the representations. And I hope you can do something like this, because even though I like the graphics, there's something a little bit off with the colors in this game.
Performs a fully dynamic weather system that creates a realistic sky ranging from clear to the darkest storm, utilizing volumetric clouds and fog capable of simulating localized precipitation.
Man, the textures are great,
you
though.
In an atmospheric experience. Dynamic global illumination and
this looks
refining
fantastic.
reflections.
I like their representation of paint, because there's paint is not just something you put on top of
Dynamic global
things. There's a really good video to be done about paint. If you, for example, look at the paint that Ferrari does, or Alfa Romeo does, or Lexus does with their structural blue, it's like engineering on the paint. And the fact they're doing these representations of the metallic paints or the ones that have just more primer into it, and they have not as much depth because they're not so much metallic, or some of them will have flakes of color in it, and some of them will have like orange peel effect and all of that. I find it fantastic. And even the reflections on this type of plastic over here that they have on the RS3, if it's clean and shiny, it's really nice. Gran Turismo 7, in my opinion, still does it better, but this is very, very high quality.
Driven by an advanced rendering algorithm, bringing environments to life. Of course, the content is getting a lot of attention from the community is the free roam in Evo, that faithfully recreates the iconic region in Germany that surrounds the legendary complex, the Nürburgring. The open world map will be...
See what I mean about the fog at the distance? It's pretty much everywhere. You see the fog.
By summer 25, during the Assetto Corsa Evo early access period, it will be released in stages, allowing continuous update and new content, and it will be expanded over time. The area has been faithfully reproduced using advanced LiDAR technology and Akuno's proprietary terrain technology for an unmatched level of accuracy and realism. To reproduce an area of this size, we developed an engine capable of reading the LiDAR data and generating a 3D mesh of the surfaces. Thanks to cadastral and geographical data, the engine can
That's
place
beautiful, man.
trees, grass, objects, and procedural buildings, while the most characteristic areas and details are reproduced using drone scans and photogrammetry. The open world area will also ensure an important level of interaction with players, who will have the opportunity to interact with the local businesses, rent cars, and upgrade their vehicles.
This place, I love it. But what they're talking about, it's really interesting. LiDAR, they have the landmarks that we already know, this fuel pump, very, very important. It's fantastic, this place. You have the pizzerias, you have the restaurants, you have the businesses around, but you can't really do it 100% of the time with accurate details, accurate houses. So they do use procedurally generated, which in my opinion makes a lot of sense, in order to focus themselves somewhere else. If procedure generated parts of houses or whatever can be done by the computer, might as well just do it instead of trying to build something, every single thing being 100% correct.
With aftermarket parts, thanks to the numerous workshops and centers actually available in the area.
Actually, that's more Forza Horizon, though, isn't it? It's more Forza Horizon. So they got a little bit of Gran Turismo there with the open part of Forza Horizon, which I find it really cool.
To infinity the gameplay and the pleasure of driving. But you can consider it as a plus, not a mandatory feature to enjoy Assetto Corsa Evo, that, as said before, will provide the most authentic experience of the franchise. The 1.0 version is expected for release on Fall 25. and will include 100 cars, the open world, and 15 officially licensed circuits, and others will follow as free updates. Our team is working so hard to provide you with the best Assetto Corsa Evo experience ever. Thank you very much for watching and for your great support. Enjoy your holidays and get ready for the early access launch.
The last point is also super important. It's very similar to what they did with Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione. It's going to be released on a specific timeline. Then on the fall, they will release the full game. And then they will be releasing also more content with, it will be free updates and likely in the future DLCs, of course, because that's how things roll, sadly, these days. But this means that they are hoping to have the game completed by fall, and then the content is something that they can try to focus themselves after the game is launched, because, you know, the content is important, but having the game is more important now. The features and all of that and how it works, the handling and the stability and performance. And then in the future, they'll release more stuff for free, which is something, for example, once again, Gran Turismo does. Every so often they release 2 or 3 cars, and every year probably a track, or every 2 years probably a track, and then the roster gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And most of the stuff is essentially free. Though in this game, it's likely it's going to be a lot of stuff will be DLC coming in the future, but as long as they give also free content, that's pretty nice. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about this early access teaser of sorts they have released? Stuff that I've missed, tell us in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to press like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.